I really thought that Tom Hiddleston wasn't fit until that one scene where he gets picked up by the Time Variance Authority and is in their version of Central Processing. You know the scene where they remove his gothic Loki clothes only to reveal an in-shape Tom Hiddleston. Such glorious purpose in today's video. Thank you for tuning in, because today I'm going to tell you about a story about Loki, who was played by a man by the name of Tom Hiddleston, and what it took for Tom to become worthy, not to hold Mjolnir, but to become the Norse god named Loki. When I've looked at Loki in the past, in the Thor movies and everything, all I saw was a skinny dude. I didn't see a fit guy. Instead, his clothes made me just look at him as like the goth guy, you know, wearing really cool gothic looking clothing. When he does this, it really hides the fact that he's in shape. Oh, and that time he was in the Kong movie, he just had on that blue shirt that in my opinion wasn't too flattering or impressive looking. That could have really had a better shirt and showed off those muscles better. Now, before I go on, one thing I want you to know is I'm going to mention spoilers and show footage from everything to that Loki TV show, Kong, and Thor and the Avengers movies. So if you haven't seen those by now and do not want spoilers, then go click away, watch those movies, then come back to this video. And if you're excited for what I'm about to talk about, then make sure you press down that like button to show me your support. Now, also one other thing, stay tuned till the end of this video to watch a Best of Loki montage that I personally make for all of my fit nerd fan base to enjoy. I guess you could say that it's part of my glorious purpose to bring you that fun scene. As I watched episode 1 of the Loki series on Disney Plus, up until that point I really thought that Tom Hiddleston wasn't fit until that one scene where he gets picked up by the Time Variance Authority and is in their version of Central Processing. You know the scene where they remove his gothic Loki clothes only to reveal an in-shape Tom Hiddleston. I guess Marvel wanted to make sure that when Tom had to strip down on the camera for money, that he looked like a god. I've heard something. I've heard that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, contracts include a clause that forces the actors to keep in great shape and in good physical condition in order for them to look like a superhero. I guess this really does help ensure that they can make any actor or actress strip down their underwear and give the audience something to enjoy and give more views for them. I'm going to do some research on this topic, and I'm going to go into it on a future episode and let you know if that's true. Today, let's talk about what Tom Hiddleston has to do to get his body ready to play Loki Odinson in all these Thor movies and in that Loki TV show. As with any of my workout reviews, I start by doing the research so I could really give you quality information and not any of that fake stuff. What I learned about Tom's workouts might shock you like the way it did to me. After doing that research, I find out that Tom does some pretty intense training not meant for a beginner or the weak. I mean, you look at this guy perform some of those fight sequences, like that train fight sequence in the TV show, and you could tell he knows how to move and is athletic. That type of workout that he's doing is not for the beginner. He says he changed it up because after years of training, he kind of hit a wall, a plateau, and he needed to change it up to stay fit. So this means the average guy, in order to get to his level of fitness training, you're going to need to have a good foundation first. Tom says that around the time that he started recording Kong Skull Island, he needed to step up the training. That's when he trained with 2 British Royal Marines and Navy SEALs. And if you know anything about either military organization, then you'll know that they train to be the best of the best, which means that their training is super intense. Tom talks about training over a series of small interviews, and he says the training during Skull Island was brutal. He mentioned that he trained like this right before and during the entire time. The training involved, in his words, getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and doing all manner of running, jumping, lifting, pushing, pulling, and then going to go and do a day's work of filming. So what that means is during that time, he was going through some intense training that was physical. And that means that that training, it was all day, is a form of endurance training. And when you train for endurance, you're not necessarily going to get big and bulky like bodybuilders do. Also, being in superhero movies, that means that the training that he did wasn't just weightlifting. It was probably also some combat training during that time as well. This endurance training trains your slow twitch aerobic muscle fibers, which are different and the opposite from your fast twitch muscle fibers, which are anaerobic and for explosive performance. Tom can be fit, but in certain clothes you cannot tell at all because those slow twitch muscles are the ones that are trained. This is also why a marathon runner and a bodybuilder are both considered to be very fit and into fitness, but why they have completely different body type shapes. I'll get more into those different muscle type fibers in a future episode. Make sure you subscribe. Anyway, to get to the level of training like a Royal Marine or a Navy SEAL means that you have to have a basic level of fitness prior to beginning that training. Remember, with Navy SEALs, they have to make a minimum standard to be fit enough to be in the US Navy. Then after that, they have to go through additional training and get to an elite level of fitness to pass the specialized training that it takes to become a Navy SEAL. The way that Tom describes his 2016 challenge was the need to make his training methods more intense because he hit something that's known as a plateau or hitting the wall in terms of fitness. So let's do some math to figure out how long it probably took Tom to be able to get to the point where he needed to kick it up to a higher level. Because I want you to understand that working out is a lifetime commitment and a long road with many forks in the road, and depending on what path you take with those forks in the road, it'll bring you to an end result that looks a lot different from the other end result. And this can mean that you train and you can be big and muscular like Thor or lean and fit like Loki. Oh, and just a sidetrack for a moment, I know some of you might be upset that I didn't make a Chris Hemsworth workout review video, but don't lose hope. Just make sure that you subscribe to that channel and hit the bell icon so you can get alert for when that video comes out, because you know it's a matter of time before I get to him. So let's say Tom Hiddleston only started getting in shape for his first Thor movie, like he wasn't in shape before that. So let's do the math. The time of that first Thor movie, the first Thor movie came out in the spring of 2011, which means that it was really recorded in 2010. This means that Tom Hiddleston's age was probably 29, 30 during the recording of that very first one. If he was out of shape in 2009, that means he would have started with the most basic workouts, building the foundation of his fitness and learning the proper form for all his exercises. So maybe it takes about 6 months of learning to a year, and then past that for true mastery. Working out with a trainer means his workouts will be periodized, aka planned out in a way that changes up his workout program every 6 to 8 weeks, with major changes to the workout every 6 months to a year. So his trainer gets him through those progressions in, let's say, the first 2 years, and during that time, his workouts get more involved. Like maybe in the first 2 years, he did barbells and dumbbells. And once he's completely mastered this, the trainer would probably move on in those next years using kettlebells, club bells, vipers, other training modalities that could last like another year each one. A way to create progressions is to also change the type of working out he does, but this is something to be careful about considering if you're not a trainer. Because remember how I said how you train affects the end results of where you end up? So you're going to have to be careful that you pick the proper training style to get the desired results. You have to make sure that the training matches with your goals. However, Tom can afford a trainer, so I'm sure that's all just planned out for him. However, speaking from experience, after a few years, your trainer might want to completely change up things, and this is why I think Tom would have increased the intensity of his training. That, and in Kong, Tom plays the character Captain John's Conrad, so he has to authentically seem like he was in the military. What better way to seem like you're in the military than to train like you were in the military? With that being said, you do not need to train for 6 years straight before jumping into an intense training program like Tom did, but I want you to make sure you build out your base level of fitness before getting into more intense training. For most of you who are beginners, my professional advice to you is to have a minimum of 6 months to 1 year of training before jumping into more intense training. Now, those 6 months to a year doesn't mean that you just do whatever you want. You pick up a weight and you're like doing some like spastic thing for 6 months to a year. You really need to work out in that introductory period, learning your form, proper muscle activation, aka muscle fiber recruitment, and building your foundation of lifting before moving away from that initial training cycle and getting to more advanced things. I want you to be able to make your gains while reducing your chance for injury by having the proper foundation in place. Remember, nothing was ever built from a garbage foundation, so your fundamentals are so important, whether you've been inactive for your whole life or you've just spent a long period being inactive. You gotta build up your fundamentals properly. When you finally get to a training level like Tom's, then here's what I recommend as far as muscular recovery is concerned. Step 1, make sure you warm up prior to the intense training. That could be by starting light or slow and just progressing your way up to full volume. Check out my video on how to warm up to learn more about quality warm-ups. Step 2. Stretch after your workout. Stretching specific muscles that were just used in training are going to help you recover from that training and be ready to perform at full capacity sooner rather than later. Step 3. Get consistent massage therapy every 4 weeks, give or take 2 weeks, depending on the intensity of your training. In my professional opinion, getting consistent massage therapy around every 4 weeks, give or take those 2 weeks, depending on the intensity of training, is going to help your body recover quicker, and it's going to get all those knots out and tightness that, if left untreated, is going to slow you down, which can eventually lead you to injury. And no athlete wants to get injured, because we all know that the time that you're spending recovering, your opponent is training and just getting better while you're just like getting back to your old level. I speak from experience working with people and even managing my own body. With the intensity of exercise during the week that I do and massage during the course of that week, I use my body physically a lot. So I get a massage every other week just to keep my body operating at peak capacity, which is on the higher end of that estimate, I know. I may not have to be fighting villains for the Battle of New York or anything, but I'm really active and believe that the proper training combined with a proper recovery will allow you to live a fit life with minimal injuries. And I mean, who wouldn't want that? I know I want that, and that's why I live that truth. So Tom Hiddleston trains like a Marine or a Navy SEAL to become our horny anti-hero known as Loki Odinson. Do you think you have what it takes to train like Loki or Loki variant? Or would you rather be bitten by a radioactive spider or be on jet skis with Morbius? If you've made it this far in the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so by now. Now, I tell you, I don't think that this is going to be the only Loki workout review I'll be doing. I have a feeling that we'll be seeing variants coming really soon. I have tons of ideas for workout reviews, but let me know who you'd like me to review in one of the upcoming episodes. Tell me who you want to see by leaving a comment in the comment section down below. Now, as promised, let's watch this Loki montage that I made for everyone. I mean, I think it's going to be a little bit better than putting Baron Zemo dancing at the end of the last episode, but we're going to feature everybody who's fought Loki, including the Hulk. Thanks for watching. Enjoy that clip, and I'm going to see you in the next video.
The revolution has begun.
Puny God.